Welcome back to Second and Short. It is Friday, May 9th, 2025. We got a much-awaited trade this week in the NFL with Luke's Steelers trading away George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys. Paul Skeens still can't beat the St. Louis Cardinals and it got his manager fired. And once again, we got a thrilling 2 Champions League matches this week. And they have set up quite an exciting final in a couple of weeks. And the Premier League race for those European spots is definitely interesting. We got a huge matchup between me and Luke's teams this weekend for some important, at least positionally, important spots in the Champions League. So we'll see what happens there. But, Luke, this is a big weekend for you. Tomorrow you have a big day. How are you doing?
I'm great, man. I'm getting nervous about graduating. It's going to be. I'm very excited for the ceremony. But it's a cool moment when you've been in the education system for 17 years.
Yeah.
5th year of college. But yeah, man, it's exciting. It's very cool to be a dog. Very cool to be a dog. For sure.
Oh, that's cool. I'm happy for you. I enjoyed. I think I kind of had the same reaction where it was like you're almost kind of nervous to graduate. But like I was talking about this with somebody else yesterday. It's like you're nervous for it to happen, and then as soon as it's over, you're like, "Oh wait, this is awesome." Not having school like floating in the back of your mind within everything you do in your life is a great feeling, and it's one that none of us have really ever gotten to have until you finally graduate. So it is it's a fun thing, very rewarding. But very happy for you. That's going to be tomorrow. Next week, you actually won't be here because you'll be at a music festival. I don't know what I'm going to do for that episode. Shout out Sublime.
That's the band I'm most excited for, but continue. Sorry.
Yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do for that episode next week, but there obviously will be an episode. It'll probably be me just solo. Maybe I'll have like Ethan come by to produce. I don't know, but I'll figure something out for next week's episode without Luke, but it'll probably just be me here. We also have some exciting things coming up just in a couple of weeks. We're going to start getting some summer content rolling out. Got some fun games lined up. We're going to do some things out and about. We already talked about this in the last couple of episodes that I've been teasing it, but one of the first things I want to do is Luke's Milk Mile. I think that's going to be a hilarious video. So that's got to happen for sure.
I'm looking forward to that, actually. That's going to be
glad.
Good content.
I'm glad because I'm definitely looking forward to it. But I got a lot of ideas on how we'll cover that and how we'll make a video out of that. So that'll be fun. And then, of course, just all the other stuff. Last year we did like the field day stuff. We're going to run back some of those ideas, maybe in some different formats than we saw last year. We'll see what we do with that. A lot more games, new games, different ways of displaying them, whatnot. So we're working on a lot of stuff for the summer, and we're going to have content weekly on Wednesdays coming out for essentially like 2 months, 3 months straight. And then we also have the return of the college football show in August, and maybe some other things to look forward to as well in the fall for extra coverage here on YouTube. But with that being said, make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube. You turn on post notifications so you know when all that stuff comes out. And like this video. Go ahead and comment some. Comment your thoughts on the George Pickens trade. And, of course, if you're listening on the podcast platforms, rate 5 stars. Give us a follow there and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Stay up to date with what we have going on over there. Luke, is there anything that we need to cover before we get into the meat and potatoes today?
I don't know if it's necessarily a need, but I do have a fun fact to kind of start the episode off that's really interesting. I'm sure you had seen this before, but I had kind of compiled 2 different videos that were talking about this particular stat, and we're actually, Grayson, going to go to the NBA, something that we do not cover here on this podcast. So I thought that would be interesting. But so it's about James Harden. Have you heard about the James Harden stats in the playoffs that have been floating around?
No.
Oh, perfect. I'm actually very excited for you to react to this. So let's just say that James Harden, LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant are kind of the 4 players of our generation. Right?
I would not put James Harden in that group. I'll say that, but sure.
Who would you replace him with?
Well, I mean, if you're going to say that that's the 4, no. I think that's I think there was 3 players of this generation, and then James Harden is in the next group.
I think I might consider James Harden to be in that 4th spot.
I
At least in the regular season.
Maybe. I don't know.
But,
I wouldn't, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, let me hit you with this. So, we're going to talk about field goals or games where these players made under 4 field goals. Kevin Durant has 2. Steph Curry has 3. LeBron has 5. James Harden has 35 career playoff games where he made under 4 field goals.
That's crazy.
Now we're going to move to field goals, under 5 field goals, career playoff games. Kevin Durant has 4. Steph Curry has 8. LeBron has 9. James Harden has 55.
It's ridiculous.
It's absolutely wild. And then my last one for you here is, this is career playoff games where they had as many turnovers or more turnovers than field goals made. AD has 7. Steph Curry has 13. LeBron has 17. James Harden has 42.
Wow.
So those are my fun facts.
Yeah, I mean those are pretty insane. Well, today we've got no NBA coverage outside of that, but we will be talking about the MLB and all the stuff that's going on there. Got a little bit of NFL news to cover, really primarily that George Pickens trade. And we've got the Premier League that we're going to talk about this weekend, Champions League semifinals that we're going to recap, and then we'll round things out with questions time. Luke, you about ready to get into the MLB recap?
Let's do it, man.
Well, we're going to start off the MLB recap by talking about a team finally addressing a need. The Orioles finally addressed their pitching problems. Did you see this trade, by the way?
No. Already it's May.
Yeah. The Orioles traded for Luis Castillo from the Mariners.
Are you shitting me?
Luis F. Castillo. Wrong Luis Castillo. This Luis Castillo, who pitches for the Mariners as well, has a 7.71 ERA and 7 innings pitched this season and is a reliever.
Oh, wow. He sounds like a great compliment to Charlie Morton.
Yeah, he is. We'll be talking about Charlie Morton later. He made his return to starting. That is as high of a compliment as I could give that performance.
You just made my heart sink. I thought they went out and got the Luis Castillo.
That was the point. That was definitely the point.
Oh man.
But yeah, I mean the Orioles suck. They're awful, and their pitching is so bad. And it is hilarious. They're like, you know what we need to do? We need to give up cash for a reliever with a 7.71 ERA.
Yeah, weird trade.
Yeah, very weird trade. I talked about this at the beginning, but the Pirates fired Derek Shelton, their manager, this morning. Not even this morning, like probably an hour and a half ago. Bench coach Don Kelly is going to take over as their interim manager. I'm going to be honest, this kind of makes sense, but at the same time, I'm like 90% sure that me or Colin probably said that Derek Shelton was a good choice for manager of the year going into the season. Just because like the Pirates have a lot of upside and you have Paul Skeens. It just, man, that offense is awful. They have lost 7 straight and they have lost 10 of their last 11. And then now Derek Shelton's been fired, and rightfully so. I would say they are awful. It makes a lot of sense.
I don't think the Pirates' business decisions, I don't think they get criticized publicly enough for that.
Oh, I think it's maybe the biggest thing that they get criticized for is how they have handled the talent that has come through.
Definitely. I would say you're right in saying that it is the biggest thing that they get criticized for, but I mean, as far as like mainstream sports media goes, I don't think the Pirates get shit on like they should, to be honest with you.
Because they
handle business so weird. Yeah, I mean,
they don't.
But I mean, they should matter.
They should, but they don't.
They don't. Yeah, they're weird, man. I kind of feel like any manager that goes into the Pirates, it's kind of like having Jerry Jones as your owner. Like, how much can you be successful?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely limiting. And, like, it doesn't help that, like, for as many bad things as they do with, like, their players, like, just random shit just happens with this franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked, it seems like every week it's something new that is just, like, some weird thing associated with this franchise. And I'm not trying to like, I'm not specifically talking about the most recent one where the guy fell off the wall. By the way, he's doing better. He took his first steps. But I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about like the Clemente sign getting replaced with an ad, and like the Bucko bricks in the recycling unit. Like all this kinds of stuff happens every goddamn year with this team. And it never changes, and I don't think it will.
You're exactly right. Fun fact about that ad that replaced the Roberto Clemente sign. They tried that beer company on Footballin' with Ben Roethlisberger.
That's very funny.
Yeah, they had some funny banter about how that brand, just by association, is probably, completely public enemy #1 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I could imagine it would be. But yeah, and also Paul Skeens did lose to the Cardinals again. He has 7 career losses, and 4 of them are to the Cardinals.
Which was what? More than he had all year last year, right?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's unbelievable.
What a weird team to suck against.
Exactly, because they've been bad the whole time Paul Skeens has been in the league.
Yeah.
It makes no sense at all.
Oh, man.
And like he didn't even have a bad game. It's just that Matthew Liberatore had a great one. I do want to talk about this Reds-Braves series. I got the chance to go to the game last night. There's another game tonight. By the way, we're recording this episode like midday. It's 2:45 right now, so we won't have anything that happened in the afternoon in any of the MLB games, or any other breaking news that might come across. So fair warning on that. But the first 3 games, at least, of this Reds-Braves series have been pretty insane. So game 1, you got A.J. Smith-Shawver taking a no-hitter into the 8th inning. He ends up losing it in the 8th, but finishes the 8th inning. His final line, 8 innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. Also in game 1, we had the very horrific injury, I would say, to the left fielder, Tyler Callahan, for the Reds. So this is how the Braves scored their 3rd and 4th run of the game, which was in pretty brutal manner. Matt Olson hit a ball towards the left field foul line, pretty close to the wall. Tyler Callahan, and by the way, if you haven't seen how the foul territory works at Truist Park, that wall comes in a lot to the point where there's probably only 2 feet, 3 feet between the foul line and the wall. Yeah. Like there is not a lot of space there. And Tyler Callahan comes across, makes a sliding attempt to catch the ball towards that side wall, and with an outreached left arm, goes straight into the wall, like hand first. And breaks his forearm, and as he kind of falls over, drops the ball out of his glove. It was a fair ball because he caught it. He hit it in foul territory, and then he dropped it, so it was a fair ball. So Matt Olson, Austin Riley keep running. Olson gets a 2-run inside the park home run. It's funny because I wasn't watching the game at the time. I was eating dinner, and I'm sitting at the table with my brother and my dad. I look at my phone. I'm like, oh, Matt Olson just hit a 2-run home run. Cool. And I kind of disregarded it and didn't really look at the distance. And then Ethan brings up the fact that it was an inside the park home run and how it happened. And then I look at my phone again. I was like, oh, it did say that he hit that 320 feet. Why did that not trigger something?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I do want to say I feel bad for Tyler Callahan. I mean, this sucks. But also to the people out there that don't think that, to the people out there that think that he caught it and that it's a catch, you're wrong. They're trying to say that yeah, people were trying to argue it that whole night that he caught it and then he rolled over and that's when he dropped it. It's because he broke the forearm that was holding the ball.
Yeah.
But you gotta be able. That's how the rule works. You have to hold it through the ground, through the wall, whatever it is that you catch it up against. You have to hold it through that. The only time you can just if he would have caught it and then went to throw and dropped it, that's different because you have to make an intentional. I think the terminology is an intentional move to throw the ball or transition, whatever it is, but. He just dropped it because he didn't hold it all the way through the hitting the wall and then falling. It's not a catch. I don't know why people are trying to argue that. It's just not. But I do feel bad for the guy, and that was a very odd, kind of scary moment when you just see a guy slam up against the wall and then just he didn't even want to move.
Yeah.
And he was also so far away from anybody to help him. Like, so far away from anybody to be right there to, like, come pick up the ball and throw it in.
Yeah.
So that was also a tough part. And you know a guy's in pain when he doesn't finish the play.
Definitely. Yeah.
What were you going to say about it?
I had a question for you as a former baseball player. I feel like the MLB and just baseball is like the sport with probably the most unwritten rules that are followed. Right?
Definitely.
If Matt Olson is rounding the bases and he sees a motionless fielder who just got hurt, does he stop at a base and just kind of be like,
If the ball's in play, you run, man.
Okay.
You have to.
I mean, yeah. But you can't hit home runs when you're 16 runs up that are just dotted straight down the middle for you.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not saying that Matt Olson should have stopped. I just was genuinely curious. Like, is that like a thing in baseball?
No, it's not. I think.
Interesting.
I'll be honest. I think the only sport where that would happen is soccer, and it's because it's a continuous sport. Or like hockey, like they would just stop. But also, typically, it takes a ref stopping play for that to stop anyways. Like sometimes in soccer you'll see him just like kick the ball out of bounds or whatever. But in something like football or baseball, I mean, it's a stop and go kind of sport, and so I think unfortunately you're going to use your advantage. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Like you don't see play stopped like really in any scenario unless there's like time has been called, like if the ball leaves the field of play or the player holds on to it long enough and they decide that the play is over, sure. But no, I don't think there's any. I don't think anybody had a problem with Matt Olson doing that because the ball was in play. That's just how you do it. I mean, the fucking Marlins, when Ronald Acuna tore his ACL the first time, I'm pretty sure Jazz Chisholm either scored like on an inside the park home run or hit like a triple off of it. And they tweeted it out. They tweeted out the video of him getting the hit with like a caption. I believe it said like, "You like jazz." And you just see Ronald Acuna tear his ACL and fall to the ground in this highlight. Crazy.
Well, the Marlins notoriously hate Ronald Acuna, so.
Yeah, that is fair. But Jazz Chisholm doesn't. Jazz Chisholm fucking loves the Braves. All right, let's move on to game 2. Chris Sale had his 89th double-digit strikeout game, which seems insane. That seems like an unbelievable number. It moves him to 8th all-time in double-digit strikeout games. His opposing pitcher, Andrew Abbott, also had a pretty great game. The Reds end up scoring the first run of the game in the 8th inning, take a 1-0 lead. Then, bottom of the 9th, Sean Murphy walks. He gets pinch run by Stuart Fairchild, who we traded for from the Reds like a month ago. Then, with 1 out, Michael Harris doubles. Fairchild comes all the way around from first, gets safe at home on a close play, ties up the game. Then we go into extras. And in the bottom of the 6th, I thought this was kind of crazy. So Verdugo starts on second base. Austin Riley comes up to the plate. He gets intentionally walked, which I thought was a little surprising. I know Riley's playing great baseball, but still. But then you just brought Marcell Ozuna to the plate, and then he hits a walk-off single. I mean, that's hilarious that you intentionally walk Riley just so you can have a force out, and then you get walked off, that's pretty tough. And you get into game 3, the one that I was at, not a fun one to be at. Maybe it's my fault that we lost. I don't know. But game 3, TJ Friedl leads off the game with a home run, which wasn't fun to witness. It was already not much of a packed house considering it was a Wednesday night game. But there was very little emotion in the stadium for the first couple of innings. I'll say that. And then the Reds scored another run as well in the first inning off Grant Holmes. So that wasn't really fun. And then top of the 3rd, TJ Friedl hits another solo home run off of Grant Holmes. That was great. Yeah, takes a 3-0 lead, almost like the same place too. Like the first one was probably a couple feet into the Braves bullpen from the right. The other one was probably to like the right side of like the center of the Braves bullpen. Like they were right next to each other. It was super weird. And then on the pitching side for the Reds, Hunter Green was pumping. He had a 3-pitch strikeout against Ozuna that was 101, 100, 101.
Good luck.
Yeah. He was constantly staying over 100 on the fastball, averaged exactly 100 miles per hour with the fastball in the game, had 6 strikeouts through 3 innings, goes out for the 4th inning. During his warm-ups, calls in the trainer, left the game with a groin injury. I was so scared that this was going to be an arm injury because there was literally... I hate this. There's this guy on Twitter called MLB Injury Reaper.
Oh, no.
And he likes to just, like, bring up, like, oh, this guy's going to be great if he can stay healthy. And on Sunday, this guy tweeted, he was like, Hunter Green is killing it right now. Let's just hope he makes it through May.
Dude,
and then I see and then he leaves the game, and I see that tweet right after, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. How? And I was like, it can't be his arm. It can't be his arm. And then it's his groin. So kind of lucky for the Braves that he left the game because he was killing us. But I feel bad for Hunter Green. And then Drake Baldwin, an inning after Hunter Green leaves the game, Drake Baldwin hits a solo shot in the 5th. Love what he's doing. It does kind of suck that, like, we have, in my opinion, a budding, like, superstar offensive hitter, at least offensive catcher in Drake Baldwin. And he's playing like 2 days a week because of Sean Murphy as well. Like, I saw somebody on Twitter make a really good point that, like, if Sean Murphy goes on one of those, like, 2-month stretches where he's just not good, he is not getting his job back. Like, Drake Baldwin has a good reason to stay in the lineup. Then you go on into the 6th inning. Olsen and Albies knock in a run each, make it a 1-run game. Comes to the bottom of the 9th. By the way, so many 3 up, 3 down innings in this game. Like, it flew by. I think the game was over. I think it was like a 7:10 first pitch, maybe 7:15 first pitch. I want to say me and Jared were out of the stadium at like 9:45.
Wow.
So a cool 2 hours and 30 minutes with 7 runs scored in the game. But we were convinced that we were going to go to extras. We thought we were going to tie it up because in the bottom of the 9th, Olsen leads off with a strikeout. Ozzie flies out. But then 2 outs, Michael Harris hits a single. That would have brought up Eli White, who has been phenomenal. I'll get to that in a second. Instead, Brian Snitker pinch hits Eddie Rosario, of all people, somebody that we just picked up again for no reason. And the last time I checked, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not October of 2021. So why is Eddie Rosario entering a game in the 9th inning with 2 outs? Somebody please tell me why. Because Eli White has been great. And I understand that Brian Snitker is an old-fashioned manager. And he likes matchups. And righty versus lefty makes sense in his brain. But even if you didn't want Eli White to hit there, on the bench you had Sean Murphy as well, who is a righty, but it's not even arguable. He's a better hitter than Eddie Rosario in every scenario, unless it is October of 2021. Then I would definitely go to Eddie Rosario. But he takes out Eli White, who in this game already had a hit and was on a 5-game hit streak now. And you can't even say it's because of the matchup, because sure, righty versus lefty is a favorable matchup, but Eli White splits against righties. His only 2 home runs this season against righties. His only 2 triples this season against righties. 4 of his 6 doubles this season are against righties. What? Eddie Rosario has 1 hit in 8 plate appearances all season. That's all he's done. Why is he coming up at all in this game? 1-run game. Runner on first in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs. And you're going to a guy who literally has not played like any games. Just makes 0 sense to me whatsoever. And of course we lost because Eddie Rosario struck out. It just bothers the shit out of me. I don't even know why we picked him back up in the first place. Meanwhile, Jared Kelenic, who is a left-handed hitting outfielder, is down in AAA. Sorry, excuse me. And He led off the game for the Stripers with a home run, 423 feet up the middle. I mean, like, what are we doing?
Shout out the Stripers, man.
Shout out to the Stripers. But yeah, I'm done with my getting pissed off the Braves.
That was a great Braves monologue. That was good. That was long.
I tend to have those often, and a lot of them come from Brian Snicker.
That's the interesting thing about baseball, dude. Is it's May. It's a midweek series that was pretty packed, full of happenings.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It was very fun. I just want to hit on a couple guys that are playing well. Two guys in particular. James Woods has been great. Or sorry, James Wood, not Woods. James Wood has been great for the Nationals, who are playing pretty good baseball, all things considered. They're not like great right now, but like for the Nationals to be, I think they're like, I don't know, like 17-20, something like that. That's not that bad. When you really think about it for the Nationals. He hit his 10th home run of the year a few days ago, and it was 114.6 miles per hour, which is torched. But the crazier part is that's not his hardest hit home run of the year. And also, 6 of his 10 home runs this year have been 110-plus ex-velo.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think his hardest hit was 116. It's just unreal. And he's also, like, launch angle-wise, very odd that he's even hitting this many home runs. Like last year, he hit 9 home runs. I think he played like 80 games last year. He hit 9 home runs. And in 38 games, he's got 10 already this season. And he is just clobbering the ball. So shout out to James Wood, who's also like 6'7", I think. And then the next guy I want to talk about is Wilmer Flores, who's been the weirdest situational hitter you could maybe ever find. Because when he is batting with bases empty for the Giants, he's batting 171 with a 536 OPS with bases empty. With runners in scoring position, he's batting 406 with an 1159 OPS and is currently third in the MLB in RBIs with 31. How can you be like under the Mendoza line in batting average with nobody on base, which I think it's somewhere around 60 plus plate appearances for him in that scenario. But in your 30-something plate appearances with runners in scoring position, you are hitting 406. That is such a wide split.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah. And he's third in the league in RBIs. Yeah. It's crazy. God. Absolutely insane. Wow. So shout out to Wilmer Flores when he has runners in scoring position.
Only when he has runners in scoring position.
Yeah. We had a really odd thing happen in the Guardians-Nationals game the other day where Cleveland batted around the order. They had 10 batters come to the plate in the top of the 7th. They were down 6-2. They take an 8-6 lead. Then, in the bottom of the 7th, Washington bats around, sends 9 different batters to the plate to retake the lead in the bottom of the 7th and take a 10-8 lead. That's like the craziest just 7th inning to see 19 batters across the two teams, and you have a major lead change and then once again a lead change is crazy. I just thought that was insane. Also, shout out to Jacob deGrom. He struck out his 1,700th, 1,700th, however you want to hear it, 1,700th career batter. He's now the fastest pitcher to that milestone, with it being just his 225th game.
God, and he's so lucky that throughout his entire career, he just was able to play every game.
Yeah. I mean, it's a miracle that Jacob deGrom is, 28 years old and reaching this milestone.
No, shout out deGrom. I honestly, I feel like the sentiment with this past injury was kind of scary, like a little bit more scary than his other ones. But he's back to doing Jacob deGrom stuff, I guess.
Yeah, he's killing it. I'll say it. I mean, he's not gonna win Cy Young, but if he could just stay healthy, he's gonna be an important pitcher in the rotation for the Rangers, if not the best.
Definitely. Yeah.
Shout out to the Angels for winning back-to-back games for the first time in 4 weeks. That's just crazy. They're playing
wild.
Awful baseball right now. Not as bad as the Rockies. The only team still not to 10 wins, by the way. That is a brutal scenario for the Rockies where they're finding themselves because they're, I believe, pretty close to on pace to be as bad as the White Sox were last year. So that's not good.
Angels?
The Rockies.
Rockies, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just poverty.
Yeah, I mean, they're
poverty
awful.
franchise.
They always
with
will
no
be.
blueprint.
No.
Absolutely no blueprint over there.
Not at all. Let's talk about this Yankees-Padres series because it was another good series this week. Just so many moments. I mean, you could kind of expect it. These are top teams in their respective leagues, but as expected, we got a Devin Williams shit show in Game 1.
I'll get to that.
You can always count on one of those. We had a Yankees offensive explosion in Game 2. Austin Wells' grand slam was awesome. Game 3, we get
two home runs in Game 2, right? Austin Wells did?
I think so. I think he did.
Yeah.
It was a solo shot and a grand slam, baseball. I think so.
That was a good day.
Yeah, but Game 3, we get Dylan Cease going into the 7th inning with a no-hitter just for it to be broken up by Bellinger with a home run. And then also in that game, Devin Williams actually pitched great and got the win, which was an interesting bounce-back performance. You had Trent Grisham hit a game-tying home run in the 8th with a sick bat flip, by the way, where he flipped it, caught the other end, and then flipped it again. That was awesome.
Yes. He's cold, awesome. Man.
Yeah.
I love me some Trent.
And crazy enough, we saw Aaron Judge go 0 for 4 in Game 3, which plummeted his batting average to a measly 400. Yeah. I know you've got an interesting stat for the Yankees, but anything that you want to talk about with this series before that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I guess not really. It kind of goes along with that series. So after the Devin Williams shit show that you brought up, the Yankees have lost 5 games when leading in the 8th inning or later this season. That's the most in the MLB. And the sentiment around the Yankee camp, especially after the offseason with acquiring guys like Devin Williams on top of having Luke Weaver, was kind of like, we just lost Soto. The bullpen is probably going to be the best part of this team, especially with Garrett Cole being hurt. That has not been the case for the Yankees as of May. So, yeah, we have that stat there. And then Devin Williams right now is sitting at a comfortable 9.24 ERA. That's like you want to be in that range if you're a closer who needs to shut out and win games.
Exactly.
And in 15 games, he only has 4 saves.
Yeah. I mean, he shouldn't be the closer going forward. So that's, the saves probably won't go up. But also, Luke Weaver hasn't been perfect either. I don't want to let him off the hook. I mean, he also came into that game after Devin Williams exploded and gave up his own earned run. It's not great.
It's just, I would almost say that a closer is the most important position in baseball.
It might be.
Because, I mean, you can have your offensive guys that you just brought up, like Aaron Judge went 0 for 4. Now, obviously, that's not very common for Aaron Judge this season, but if you don't have someone that can come in the 9th inning and get 3 outs and give your team the win, that's bigger than having a big offensive guy or even an insane starting pitcher, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what? That is a fantastic segue there, Luke. An entirely natural segue to talk about how good the Mariners and Padres are. They've been the 2 best teams in baseball, in my opinion, this season. And the Mariners have now won 9 straight series. First time they've done that since 2001 when they won 15 straight in that amazing record-setting season where they still choked in the playoffs. And for the Padres, 34 games into their season, their pitching staff was the only team in the league to not give up 100 runs.
Wow.
But the thing that these 2 teams have in common, in my opinion, is they have the 2 best closers in baseball so far this season. Andres Munoz and Robert Suarez have been unbelievable. Robert Suarez, easily one of the best closers in baseball right now. Biggest part of their early success, in my opinion, for the Padres. He's got 14 saves. He's only allowed 1 run this season. Those 14 saves are in 15 games finished. That's incredible. And then Andres Munoz has also been outstanding this particular night. Not exactly, but kind of fought it back. So the other night came in the 10th inning. He wasn't even in when the Athletics tied things up to get into extra innings. But Andres Munoz comes in the 10th inning with a 1-run lead, bottom of the 10th. Jacob Wilson immediately singles on the first pitch and ties up the game.
Wow.
Shout out to Jacob Wilson. And that gives Andres Munoz his first blown save of the season after 14 saves, which is very impressive. Then, after that Wilson single, the A's proceed to load the bases with no outs. Then, somehow, Andres Munoz strikes out Lawrence Butler, Trent Rooker, and Tyler Soderstrom all in a row to get out of the inning. And then Jacob Wilson comes up in the 11th inning, all because Andres Munoz let so many guys get on and walks off the Mariners. So shout out to Jacob Wilson, literally keeping the A's alive in this game. Ties it up for him, is one of the runners on base when they load the bases. Then he comes back up in the 11th inning, literally the next inning, and walks it off. Right now, in my opinion, he is easily the front runner for AL Rookie of the Year. He has been unbelievable.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's been great.
Yeah. The other rookie that the Athletics have, another of a plethora, but Gunnar Hoglund. He recently made his debut a couple weeks ago. I think it was last week. He was making his second appearance this week and made one of the weirdest mistakes you'll see. He didn't have a great game, and this didn't help. He threw a pitch with Dylan Moore on first base. Catcher throws the ball back to Gunnar Hoglund. Catches it, sets his glove down on the ground, and ties his shoe on the mound. Huh. And so Dylan Moore just runs to second base.
Bro.
Yeah. It's the weirdest thing that could have happened right then. Yeah, like, you got to call time.
Oh, man.
All you have to do is just look at the umpire and be like, hey, I got to tie my shoe. And then that whole thing's avoided. No, you just let Dylan Moore just steal second base because you were tying your shoes.
It's up base running, though.
Yeah, shout out to Dylan Moore. But I thought that was insane. Going from a rookie to one of the oldest guys in the league probably at this point, Aroldis Chapman. He's just decided that age is not a factor. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah. He's totally turned back the clock. Against the Rangers, he had an at-bat against Blake Krim where he hit fastball velos of 103.8, 103.3, 102.7, and 102.6, and got the strikeout on a 94.6 splitter. This guy just...
94-mile-an-hour splitter?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Unbelievable. Aroldis Chapman is just like... what's crazier, too, is that on that 103.8 pitch, it was tipped barely off the bat of Blake Krim. And I can't remember who was catching, but Chapman's catcher definitely should have caught it off the bat, and it should have been strike three. And instead, it hit in his glove and then fell out. And then he just proceeded to throw over 102 miles per hour 2 more times in the at-bat and then still get a swing and miss for the strikeout. It's just unbelievable.
Incredible.
Yeah. How is he doing this? That's what I don't get. I mean, how old is Aroldis Chapman?
37. I just looked at his baseball reference.
Crazy.
Sitting at a 2.15 ERA with 15 games played this season. He also has 4 saves, just like Devin Williams, except for a 7 less ERA.
Yeah. And I mean, he's not even, I don't even think he's really the closer.
I don't think so either.
So shout out to Aroldis Chapman. I don't know how he's doing it. The Blue Jays have been unbelievably bad recently. And this is a crazy stat. After allowing just 2 runs in 30 innings to start the season, Jeff Hoffman and Yimi Garcia, which has been kind of their closer and setup man this whole season, since those 2 runs in 30 innings to start the season, they have now allowed 13 runs in 4 appearances and have 3 straight blown saves. I mean, how do you even do that?
That's impressively bad.
Here's another impressively bad stat. The Blue Jays have not held a lead of over 3 runs since April 15th in 36 games.
What?
Yeah. In those 36 games, Jays pitchers have started innings with a 4-run lead in only 16 innings. Across 36 whole games, a Blue Jays pitcher has not entered an inning with a 4-run lead more than 16 times.
They need Alex Manoah.
They need
the only thing that can
literally anything but what they have. It's unreal.
Maybe
okay,
they
well
should have
now
gotten Luis Castillo before the Orioles did.
Maybe, or they need the other one.
Yeah.
Let's cleanse the palate with some good pitching from this week. Matthew Liberatore. I talked about this one earlier, but against the Pirates, Liberatore, who I've been waiting for him to play well since he came up a couple of years ago for the Cardinals, but he showed up against Skeens. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts on 99 pitches for him. I believe he got the win. Maybe went to a reliever. Robbie Ray has been outstanding these past couple of weeks. This time against the Cubs, 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. It's his 3rd straight quality start, and he's now started the season 5-0.
Wow.
Yeah, shout out Robbie Ray. Another guy kind of turning back the clock. We're well past the prime of Robbie Ray, in my opinion.
Definitely.
How about Carlos Rodon? Another guy who this season has really turned it up. And against the Padres, 6.2 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts on 95 pitches. That's what you need to see.
Him and Fried both, just like the double lefty action in New York has been unfair.
Just imagine how much better it would be if Garrett Cole was healthy. Hey, all my fucking players are hurt too.
I know.
So, I mean, Acuna's coming back soon, and so is Strider. So, I don't want to.
Yeah, Strider for the second time. Part 2 of the return.
Yeah, part 2 of the return. This one isn't a particular start that happened this week, but Tarek Skubal's past 5 starts. These stats are insane. Past 5 starts, 30 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 1 walk, 38 strikeouts, and a .9 ERA.
3 earned runs and
5
how
starts.
much did you say? 5 starts?
5 starts, 30 innings.
Okay, so that's like a guaranteed win every time if he's pitching.
Pretty much.
Tiger's been great.
Yeah. Even Javi Baez is playing well. That's how you know they're playing good.
For the first time in like 8 years.
Yeah, they just had to move him to center field. I guess it worked.
What?
Yeah, Javi Baez has been playing center field.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's not great at it, but he's hitting better.
All right.
All right, now to the bad pitching. And you know what? I'm going to commend the MLB on this one. Everybody, I've only got 2. I've only got 2 pitching performances that were so bad I had to put them here. And one of them is as familiar as a face could be for this segment. Charlie Morton, man. He's back. He is back.
Let's hear
Charlie
it for
Morton returns to starting pitching with unbelievably a performance that lowered his ERA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Good. 4 innings pitched. Not a good start. 4 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. He did give up a home run. 70 pitches, 41 strikes. His ERA now is lowered to a 9.36.
This is bad that I'm about to say this, but that's not that bad of a start for him.
It's not.
To be quite honest.
It's a bad start in general. But for his standards, this maybe should have made the good pitching portion.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And also, that home run was to Byron Buxton, who hit a home run 3 days in a row, which is pretty awesome. He's playing great baseball. He is playing some fantastic baseball. I'll say this. I'm really looking forward to the All-Star game and like everything leading up to it, because like I think there's going to be some crazy decisions to be made about starters in the All-Star game this year.
Can you elaborate on that? It's only May. I'm just interested to hear what your thoughts are.
I just think that there is so many people that are off to hot starts that play the same positions. I mean, the outfield and the AL is going to be a ridiculous race.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Judge is going to be there, but the rest of the spots, it is very interesting.
Yeah.
And like for the NL, I mean, not just the All-Star game, the NL MVP is wide open. I mean, Ohtani's playing great, but he's not like leaps and bounds ahead of everybody like he was last year.
Definitely, yeah.
It's very interesting. Our next bad pitching could could have probably just stood on its own in this segment. This could potentially be one of the worst pitching performances I've ever seen. It was genuinely historic, and I'm not kidding. Ryan Pressly of the Cubs entered the game in the 11th inning. The 11th inning, Ryan Pressly enters in the top of the 11th against the Giants. 0 innings pitched. 5 hits. 9 runs, 8 of them earned. 1 walk, 1 hit by pitch. 26 pitches. 26 pitches, he gave up 8 earned runs.
What has happened to Ryan Pressly?
His ERA went from 2.08 to 7.62.
Oh, man.
And he tied the all-time record for most runs allowed in a game by a pitcher who pitched 0 innings.
So they definitely lost that game.
Yes, they ended up losing in extra innings 14-11. Or sorry, no, 14-5 in 11 innings. This was a 5-5 game.
Oh, man, dude. That's horrible.
Yeah,
That's
and
awful.
that is the 4th largest margin of victory in extra innings in MLB history.
What a brutal way to lose a game.
Yeah. Yeah, tough day for Ryan Pressly.
Wow.
Awful. Imagine how hard fought of a game that must have been. To find yourself in that scenario. And you bring in a guy who, for a decade probably, has just been
legendary
a
closer,
lock.
right?
He is a lock in relief. No. Just not his day. Not his day whatsoever.
Wow.
Last thing I've got for the MLB, let's talk about the Diamondback City Connects, because I know you hate my opinions on every City Connect jersey. You literally DM me when they posted these jerseys and were just like, have at it.
I said, go ahead.
Yeah. And you're right. I hate most of them. But I'll say this. I don't totally hate this one.
Okay.
Is it better than the first one? No. Not better than that sand color with the Serpientes thing. I like that they stuck with that. I love the hat.
Yeah.
Love the hat. By the way, 0 clue what color any of this is. So everybody keep that part in mind.
Really? No one's told you?
Cannot identify the color of this jersey. But
okay, hang on. If you're looking at a picture of it, I'd like to help you out because it's cool.
I can tell it's a gradient, but
okay. So the actual color of the jersey is purple.
Gotcha. That's why I have no idea. Got it.
The Serpientes is written in a kind of like a darker baby blue.
Oh, okay. Honestly,
it's very bright.
I would have just said that was white if I had to guess on the jersey. I can tell that it's a different color on the hat, and I would assume it is probably a similar color to the brim of the hat.
Yes, it is. Same color.
Yeah, but I will admit the hat is awesome. It's a hat that I saw and I'm considering buying.
Yeah,
it's that good of a hat, but I don't totally love the jersey.
That's fair. It also has very, very small kind of, you can barely see them, stripes. Not necessarily pinstripes.
Well, it's
They're not
snake
that tight
skin.
together. Oh.
If you look really closely near the bottom of the jersey, you can really tell is that it's a snake skin pattern, and that's where those lines come from. Yeah.
That's pretty cool, but I will agree with you. I definitely like the more tan jersey better, but this one's really cool.
Yeah,
I like this one.
Also, one thing that guys, all the teams really have been killing is the patches on the arm sleeve.
Yes.
On these City Connect jerseys, those are always good. This one's great. It's like the Arizona flag, except it has the Diamondbacks logo on it instead of this. I think the sun is what's on the Arizona flag. But I love it. I love these in the grand scheme of this year's City Connect jerseys. So I'll say that. I saw a potential leak of the Boston one. When that one goes official, we might be having a different conversation.
I mean, their one now is horrible.
I hate it. I get why it's that way, and I hate that I have to say that it's an ugly jersey because of it, but it is an ugly jersey.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page there. Anything else that we need to cover for the MLB?
I don't think so, man. It's I don't know. I feel like we're at the point where we're starting to see kind of what teams are going to be there. Maybe.
Nah, I don't know, man. It's only May. It's early May.
That is true. That is true. But I don't know. I feel like the AL Central's been really interesting this year.
Yes,
to start.
Definitely.
And so has which one am I?
The AL West has been great.
Siri just came up.
I mean, the Athletics have 20 wins.
Oh no.
What?
Oh my god. What the fuck is going on?
I'm very confused right now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I mean, we're still rolling.
Holy shit. Sorry, my Siri came up and it just like opened all of these tabs.
Nice.
I'm sorry about that.
No worries. Well, I think the AL West has been ridiculous to watch. I mean, that whole division is crazy. You have like one of the best teams in baseball, and like the Athletics came out of nowhere and have 20 wins. I mean, it's pretty insane.
More than the Astros.
Yeah. I might have been wrong about them. I'll hand up.
But it's only May.
That's true, but I also still might have been wrong about them.
Yeah, I guess that's it for the MLB.
Okay, well then we will head over to a little bit of NFL news. Now over to the NFL, and we're going to lead it off with something, I guess, near and dear to Luke's heart. The Cowboys have acquired George Pickens and a 2027 sixth-round pick from the Steelers for their 2026 third and 2027 fifth-round pick. How do you feel about it? I mean, I predicted this trade, not this particular trade, but I predicted that the Steelers were going to trade Pickens during the draft. But we also knew during or before the draft, I guess, that Jerry Jones said that he's working on making a deal happen either before or after the NFL draft. And it happened after. How do you feel from the Steelers side on this move?
Yeah, I know a lot of other journalists were talking about George Pickens potentially getting moved as well. I didn't want it to happen because our offense is so fragile. And to get rid of a guy like Pickens, who I guess would, going into his fourth year already?
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about.
But that means he's got to get paid soon.
Yeah. At first, I was kind of sad because we definitely gave him away for a bag of chips, especially considering we drafted him in the second round. We did not get a second round in return out of him. And you could probably argue that his value may have exceeded a second round draft pick after watching him play in the NFL, but that's up for debate. The Steelers are projected to have 12 picks in 2026. I'm pretty happy about that. We still need to extend TJ Watt, and DK Metcalf just got paid $150 million when George Pickens will need to get paid next offseason. So who knows what he's going to want there. I had read that the Steelers reportedly exerted all resources, that's in quotation marks there from the Steelers, with George Pickens. And at the end of last season, Mike Tomlin told Pickens that he needed to grow up fast. Kind of downsides to it, with those being the positives, are Pickens blows the rest of the league away in yards per catch, almost unlike anything we've seen in within his time in the NFL.
Yeah.
But the Steelers yet again are going into a season without a wide receiver 2, and we still don't really have a quarterback there. I don't think it needs to be Will Howard in his first season. I think we need someone to give him a bridge.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I guess those are kind of my sentiments. He definitely, I think, is one of the most entertaining players in the NFL to watch. I'm sad that he won't he won't be on my team anymore, but also I trust Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin in team building for sure. And if Mike Tomlin, out of all head coaches in the league, is going to get fed up with a guy for behavioral issues, it definitely says a lot, and I think the Steelers got rid of him before something bad happened. He still played full seasons for us.
That's what I keep going back to with this. It is like Mike Tomlin kind of plays up this idea that like he likes to go out and get a guy and like turn him around or whatever it may be. He kind of prides himself on it. So for him to give up on him says
a lot.
Yeah, it either says a lot about Pickens or it says a lot about where Mike Tomlin is at mentally with where this organization's been heading for a couple of years, where it's like maybe he's just like, I don't know what to do, or maybe he's just more concerned with other problems that the team has than George Pickens being an issue. But I agree with you. Like this is the same thing you're going into again. Obviously, I think hands down DK Metcalf is a better wide receiver than George Pickens. But going into a season where you have uncertainty at quarterback and no wide receiver two, like no depth at wide receiver. I mean, Calvin Austin and Robert Woods are not going to get it done. So you do kind of feel a little bit of like, okay, so what changed? Other than probably the quarterback situation got worse.
Yeah.
That's the really tough part on the Steelers side.
Yeah. I think social media, though, is they're kind of giving up on the Steelers. Like it's so easy to look at the stat, or not really even the stat, the fact that the Steelers don't have their leading pass rusher from last season in Russell Wilson, don't have their leading rusher from last season in Najee Harris, or their leading receiver now with George Pickens. And then kind of compiling that with the fact that the Steelers offense, even with those stat leaders, still was not that great. Just kind of means that we downgraded even more. So to your point, but like what people are looking past is the fact that the Steelers, those guys were kind of all shitheads. Russell Wilson wasn't really that great. Najee Harris really wasn't that great.
No.
George Pickens was really great, but I hate to say it, but he was kind of a shithead. So there's so many different ways to look at this situation, but I think I'm kind of ready to talk about how it affects the Cowboys.
Yes, me too.
Because that's really interesting. They still need to pay Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of feeling that this George Pickens trade is kind of a rental. He's definitely only going to spend one season in Dallas.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing.
I don't think they're going to re-sign him.
As soon as this trade happened, the immediate reaction was, okay, well, he's eligible for an extension soon, so whoever picks him up would pay him. I don't think the Cowboys do that, and I don't think they gave up enough to say that they are willing to do it. They don't give a fuck if they lost next year's third-round pick and the following year's fifth-round pick. They got back a sixth as well, which I think also proves to the case that they're not really worried about losing George Pickens here. But if you can get a good season out of George Pickens and you can make somebody else pay for him, I think the Cowboys win. I think it's a win for the Cowboys. But the only way it's a win for the Cowboys is if the money that you're saving from not paying George Pickens pays Micah Parsons.
It goes to Micah Parsons.
Because if you lose both next year, you're fucked.
Oh,
you are so fucked. So that's where the question marks start coming, because everybody's talking about how he gets paid, but also we got reports, later in the day saying that George Pickens isn't necessarily concerned with an extension now until he shows his worth, which I think is also interesting. So he's kind of betting on himself here, but it also, I think, puts more pressure on the Cowboys. You could probably get a little bit of a discount on a wide receiver like George Pickens, where he's at in his career right now. But if he gambles on himself and does well, which I think his situation almost limits him from doing extremely well, kind of to like what happens to T. Higgins, where there's a superstar ahead of you, and you are not going to jump him. You will not be given an opportunity to jump him, in my opinion. But if you play well beside him, you can get paid for that. That's the max that George Pickens gets out of this. And I almost think it hurts him a little bit, but it helps the Cowboys. Because maybe he can't thrive as wide receiver too either, and then you could pay him for less.
That's a really good point as well. I'm kind of looking at it through a different lens, where somebody with behavioral issues, but also immense talent, gets to finally play behind somebody that's way better than him in CeeDee Lamb.
True.
And also, if CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and just some other guys on the Cowboys stay healthy, I'm genuinely really excited because I brought up before that I can never really hate the Cowboys as my dad is a Cowboys fan. George Pickens on the Cowboys seems extremely deadly if that offense is healthy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, that just seems unfair to have CeeDee Lamb and then your deep threat and George Pickens, who just kind of is like a ball magnet. I'm really excited to see him on the Cowboys, genuinely.
Yeah, now Dak Prescott just has to be healthy.
Exactly. But yeah, it's an interesting trade, and the Steelers, I mean, it's May. There's no more draft. Your free agents are kind of gone. The Steelers are in a very, very interesting spot right now.
Definitely. I definitely think they put themselves in a tough spot. But I really do think when it comes to this, he was not going to stay in Pittsburgh, I don't think. No. I don't think Pittsburgh was going to extend him, especially when the conversation has been, how do we get the money into TJ Watt's hands? Like, how is that going to happen? George Pickens was always going to be an afterthought in that situation. He goes to Dallas where there's already enough problems with their paying their edge rusher, but at least he can insert himself into the conversation because Jerry's not afraid to spend money. But I'll give Jerry some credit on this. He's not going to spend it on the wrong guy. And if George Pickens isn't the right guy, Jerry's probably not going to pay him. He will let you walk. He does not care.
Name is Dak Prescott.
Well, that's yeah, I guess that's fair. But that's also debatable in a sense. I mean, he's the franchise quarterback, but I definitely can't see him, with confetti falling around him.
Yeah, that's true. It's a super interesting trade overall. I guess like my final sentiments would be, I was just very excited to see DK, George, and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been interesting.
As most Steelers fans were.
Very odd personalities there.
Almost, do you think that trading George Pickens hurts our chances to get Aaron Rodgers as well? I think it kind of has to.
Maybe it might help. I don't know. Maybe that's something that happened in that in those meetings with Rodgers. Maybe he's like, I don't want to deal with that. I mean, he's 40 something years old. He doesn't want to deal with some kid that's already been a problem.
Yeah, I don't know. The other side of that I guess, is like Aaron Rodgers, kind of like with Tom Brady, I would say has gotten more irritable as he's gotten older. Maybe George Pickens needed that quarterback.
Maybe. All right, let's talk about another AFC North situation. I'm not going to get too in-depth on the actual situation at hand, but Justin Tucker was released by the Ravens.
Why was he released? What the hell?
They keep saying it's a football decision over and over and over again. And I'll say this, they have a little bit of grounds to say it because Justin Tucker was not good last year.
No.
Like, especially when you look at like how all kickers performed last year. It was a down year for kickers, but he was one of the bad ones. For sure.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely. And
worst season of his career by far.
Yeah, and at that position, nobody fucking cares what you did nobody cares what you did 3 weeks prior, let alone the year before or the 10 years before. No one cares. Also because nobody invests in kickers. So it's real easy to get rid of you because Justin Tucker was not drafted by the Ravens. They don't care. They picked him up afterwards and they lucked out. That's how everybody's kickers work. Most people don't draft a kicker, and then that kicker is just your franchise guy. That doesn't really happen.
Yeah. Very few times.
Especially now. I mean, now it's almost like fantasy football when it comes to your kicker week to week for half the teams in the league.
Literally. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. But, so I do understand why they released Justin Tucker, but them constantly having to say this is a football decision makes it feel like it's not.
Yeah.
But they also drafted Tyler Loop in this year's draft and picked up the Wyoming kicker, I think, after the draft. So those two are going to fight it out for the starting spot. But yeah, I mean, it's odd. But also, you'd think if it wasn't a football decision, and I'll go back and defend Eric DeCosta and the rest of this front office, if it wasn't a football decision, you probably would have done it earlier. I mean, these allegations have been out since the Super Bowl, sometime around then.
Yeah.
So you probably would have done something there. But yeah, I don't know. It sucks that it's the end of an era, but also he's allegedly a horrible person. So
yeah,
you get what you get. I mean, ask the Ravens; they're used to this.
Yeah,
they have had to cut ties with plenty of players. They haven't cut ties with some that have had their fair share of controversies, but he happens to be one of the best ever at his position, so nobody is ever going to say anything.
No.
I don't even think we have to say his name. I think everybody knows that person allegedly 100% killed someone. Allegedly. 100%. Next guy that got cut, Gabe Davis, who's somebody that could actually end up on a team. Got cut by the Jags. Makes a lot of sense considering Travis Hunter's in town, Brian Thomas Jr., and Gabe Davis. I don't think he really fits with Trevor Lawrence. I don't think that's a natural fit between those two. I could definitely see Gabe Davis going back to Buffalo, considering they didn't address wide receiver, and we talked about the explosion that their GM had over people being mad about that move. But it would not surprise me if Gabe Davis ends up back in Buffalo.
Yeah, I think that would actually be good for his career, considering how his time in Jacksonville went. At my convocation yesterday for UGA, there was a Steelers fan that I had some classes with that came up to me, and we were talking about the Pickens trade. He was like, "I think we're going to get Gabe Davis," and I literally put my hand over his mouth and whispered in his ear, "Hell no." Bro. Robert Woods is bad enough, but to me, Gabe Davis, genuinely, he has to be an option for the Steelers. There's no way they're not thinking about bringing in Gabe Davis.
Sure.
In my opinion.
I mean, they need to be looking at every wide receiver that's alive.
But I think he would be horrible.
Agreed.
In Pittsburgh.
Horrible. I agree. So I immediately got a text from I think Mike when this trade when he got cut. He said something about going back to Buffalo, and I was just like, you better learn Pittsburgh. Just because it was so perfectly timed. It was literally like,
yeah,
the Pickens trade happens, and then a few hours later, Gabe Davis gets cut. Very funny timing.
Yeah.
But, time will tell. I personally, if I had to predict, he's going back to Buffalo. It just makes sense right now.
Yep, and then Scotty Miller will explode on the scene and be the wide receiver 2 in Pittsburgh, and no one will remember George Pickens' name. I know that you hate me for saying that, but I'm not going to give up on Scotty Miller just yet.
What?
Not yet.
Really? I think
he didn't have a chance in last season.
The league gave up on Scotty Miller when he got here.
No, I don't think so yet. We're going to see Scotty Miller a lot in 2025, I think.
Okay.
Because Calvin Austin's not a wide receiver 2. He's a slot.
I would argue Calvin Austin doesn't even play football.
What? Did you see the end of last season? That guy was a dog.
Every now and then. I think he plays football 3 weeks of the year.
Yeah. Oh, we're so fucked, Grayson. I think you know what? I'm not even going to say it. Mike Tomlin, he needs to protect that precious record of his.
Yeah.
And 2025 might be the hardest to do it.
If it will help you, I'm about to get mad at my franchise.
Yeah, let's hear about the Falcons.
Yeah, Jalen Walker. We put out all of our rookies' new numbers. James Pierce got his 27 that he wore at Tennessee, which is great.
Oh,
love it.
Love that.
Jalen Walker got 11 that he wore at Georgia. And I know that the camera right now can't see it, but there happens to be a Falcons jersey over here with Julio Jones' name on it and his number 11. Now, look, the Falcons have been trying to say, oh, nothing bad happened between us and Julio, no love lost. Kind of weird that we're just handing out his number when he just retired, too. I mean, I assure you we're not going to hand out 2. That number's not going to anybody. That number's probably getting retired very soon.
Yeah.
So, why Why are we handing out 11? Because I'll go ahead and say it. Julio Jones is probably a top 3 player in the franchise's history, if not 2. So you can't try and say that you didn't fuck up the relationship with Julio Jones when you're handing out his number to a rookie. That's what I don't get. And I get that the jersey's not retired, but you shouldn't just hand that one out. I don't care. The Patriots aren't handing out 12 anytime soon. I think he might have gotten his retired by now, but I don't know. But like even the Buccaneers aren't going to hand out his number. Packers aren't going to hand out Rodgers' number. Like that's just not happening.
No. Even despite all those players going to play for different teams and not retiring as a Packer.
Yeah. I mean, Matt Ryan arguably didn't even go to Indianapolis. I don't even know if we can count that.
I don't think the Steelers have had another number 7 yet.
There's a reason for that. That's why you don't just hand out these numbers. These numbers have history associated with them. You as a Yankees fan know that the best. Sure, you could, at some point the Yankees might have to just dip into the triple digits, but there's history. And you can't just throw that away. And I think unfortunately, the Falcons are trying to do that with Julio Jones, and I'm not going to stand for it. I won't. Now, is that going to stop me from Jalen Walker winning Defensive Rookie of the Year and me immediately buying his jersey? Fuck no. Of course not. But I'll be mad at the Falcons, and I'll be mad that the Falcons made money off of me from that. But it's not going to stop me from appreciating what Jalen Walker does and what we do on the field.
Yeah, that's a good point. Wanted to go back to something you said earlier. I might argue that Julio is the best Falcon of all time.
He might be. It's either him or Matt.
I just watched a video last night about the entire 2010s in NFL. Yeah. Just kind of he went through every season. Dude, I still cannot believe the head top over Luke Kuechly.
It's one of my favorite plays ever.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome play.
And Luke Kuechly describing that play is better.
It is.
Him talking about that play is awesome. No, like this is not like this is not the portion of the year we're probably a month away from where we start talking about is Julio Jones the number 1 player in franchise history for the Falcons? That's a conversation for one of those times. But
definitely.
It's a conversation that probably should be had, and that's why Jalen Walker probably should not be wearing number 11. I mean, I'm pretty sure he wore 6 at Georgia before he got the number 11.
I want to say he was number 11 at Georgia.
I think he wore 6 in a prior year and then got 11 from someone else. I could be thinking of Michael Williams, but
I don't know. I mean, like,
can't remember.
Here, I'm going to try to justify this, and you might shut me down immediately.
No,
like, you just drafted your first Georgia player since 1965.
Yeah,
and he just so happens to be kind of a dog, and he wore that number in college. So,
but what does Georgia have to do with Julio Jones? I mean, Jalen Walker, if we're talking about where a guy's from, he's from North Carolina. So that part doesn't connect.
I mean, played at UGA though.
Yeah, but Julio Jones has nothing to do with Georgia other than Atlanta, so he has nothing to do with the university.
Yeah, I mean, true.
I don't know. It's just like it's these little things. It's these little things like this that just kind of piss you off. Like there's bigger franchise organizational problems with this team. I know that, but it's like these little ones where it's like if you're in an argument with let's say like a significant other and like you're arguing about something else, but also like you didn't do the dishes is like that's what this is.
Yeah.
This is like you didn't do the dishes the other day. That's what this is. That's what I could equate this to. Is there any other NFL stuff that we need to cover? I feel like I haven't seen much. I mean, not much is really happening. So,
yeah, I think we're done here, man.
Okay. Well, then, the Panthers cut Jadeveon Clowney in case anybody cared. Jonathan Brooks is out for the season again. So there's some Panthers news for you guys.
No! God,
Forgot
dude.
About those two. Yeah.
Dude, is his career over?
It might be.
Like, What's happening?
That sucks. Yeah.
Oh my God, that does suck.
But yeah, the Panthers. They're a conversation for another day as well.
What did he do?
I
They're
think
not even training yet.
he's trying to.
They are training.
Yeah, they are training. I think he was trying to recover from the last injury when he got re-injured last year. But they put him on the PUP list. They said it's going to take him 13 months to recover from this second ACL injury.
That's brutal. I hate that.
Yeah, it does suck. It definitely sucks. Okay. Let's switch it up, talk about a different type of football, which is actually referred to as soccer, and head over to the Premier League. We're starting off the soccer section with the Premier League. We got, like we talked about in the intro, a lot of big matches for the table and for European spots. And we'll start with Saturday's matches. Fulham-Everton, not a ton that's going to happen from this one, but let's get a quick take from us both. Score prediction from you, Luke.
1-0 Everton.
Wow, over Fulham.
Yeah.
They're
playing about the same right now.
Yeah. Fulham's not playing great either. So that's a fair shout right there. I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw there. That feels like a draw.
Right.
The next one, another one that just doesn't really feel like there's much to talk about with, is Ipswich and Brentford. Brentford at least in an interesting spot. Right. They're playing pretty well. But you're still 8 points out of 7th. You're 9 points out of that 6th place spot for the Europa League. Like, Europe may be a little bit close to being out of the conversation for Brentford.
I think it's for sure out of the conversation for Brentford.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 3-1 Brentford.
Okay. I'm gonna go 2-0. 2-0 Brentford over Ipswich. Got a big one just for Man City to hopefully get 3 points. They're taking on Southampton. It's at Southampton, which doesn't change much about the result, considering Southampton is practically in fucking League One by now.
They've won 2 games this season.
Yeah, it's atrocious. So yeah, like, is Manchester City going to get the 3 points they need? I think that's the biggest question, because they need the 3 points.
Oh, they better fucking hope they do. That would be an unprecedented draw or loss if that happens.
Yeah,
really.
That's true. That is true. And Man City's on great form. I don't want to take that away from them either. I mean, 4 straight wins is huge for them. And that's why they're surging up the table right now. I mean, they're 3 points behind Arsenal. Like, this is a real possibility. Arsenal comes in 3rd or maybe further down. Who knows? I'll take Man City 3-0 over Southampton.
Yeah, I'm going to go 4-0.
All right. Our next match is Wolves and Brighton. This one, once again, not really big fallout from this. I mean, Wolves were on great form. They lost to Man City over the weekend, but Brighton well out of European contention as well, just like Brentford was. They're tied on points. How do we feel about this game? I mean, Wolves certainly would love to see continued momentum to the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm going to take Wolves 2-1. And if you haven't already, my Premier League team of the month should be live. Sorry, it was a day late. But Wolves, once again, ate up a lot of my starting 11. Like, Jorgen Strand-Larsen is by far been the best striker in the Premier League these past 2 months, which is just wild to say. But I think they're probably going to get the win over Brighton, despite I think they lost last week finally. Only 1-0 to Man City, which is still impressive. I'm going to take Wolves 2-1.
Yeah, I would love to see the splits on Wolves' goal scoring, because they're now at 51 goals scored on this season. I'd love to see what the change was from before and after the manager change, because I feel like Wolves have been just consistently scoring goals in every match outside of them being shut out by Man City. But I'm going to take Wolves as well. I do not like the way the Brighton is playing right now. They have not impressed me. I know they got the draw against Newcastle, which kind of fucked with me a little bit, but certainly fucked up our situation on the table.
I think to your point, sorry to kind of cut you off there, but Wolves right now is sitting at negative 11 goal difference for the whole season rather.
Yeah.
After the manager change, it's probably, I would say, like 4 or 5 over being positive. Which is a massive difference.
They've had a major swing in goal differential for sure. to get to negative 11, which sounds crazy.
For sure.
I'll take Wolves in this one. I'll go 2-1 over Brighton for them. Final match on Saturday is a big one. It's actually being played on NBC, so everybody can watch that one. Bournemouth and Aston Villa is an important one for the table because not that Bournemouth can necessarily jump up in Europa League, though they could. It's that Aston Villa is 1 point behind Nottingham Forest for that 6th place spot and that Europa League spot. If Aston Villa, which I guess Newcastle did this last year, but if Aston Villa goes from Champions League, making the Champions League knockout stage, though, moving on in the Champions League knockout stage to not making a European competition, that's not good at all. That's really bad if they drop like that. But for the same thing, Aston Villa is 3 points out of 5th place. So, like, they could even find themselves back in the Champions League if they play well enough here at the end.
Yeah, but I mean, if, despite the outcome of Chelsea-Newcastle, whichever team loses is not going to get jumped by Aston Villa because the goal differential is so immense there.
Yes, the problem is Nottingham Forest.
The problem is Nottingham Forest, you're right. But Aston Villa, Bournemouth, I feel like Bournemouth always makes these bigger teams like in this weird situation in the game. Like Aston Villa, this is a really important game for them, more so than it is for Bournemouth. But Bournemouth just kind of like to put, deflate the tires of teams that are trying to compete for something while Bournemouth isn't. So I almost want to say like a 2-2 draw between Villa and Bournemouth.
That works for me. I would love to see that pressure go away. Yeah, for both of us, for sure. Yeah. I mean, like, Nottingham Forest is in a tough spot, obviously, because they're just not playing good whatsoever. But they're playing Leicester. So they've easily got the chance to overtake whoever it is that ends up losing Chelsea and Newcastle. At the same time, they almost can't afford for there to be a draw there. If there's a draw in Newcastle-Chelsea, Nottingham Forest is fucked. Because their goal differential is 12, they've got 12 is their goal differential, and Chelsea and Newcastle are both at 21, so it's a big hill to climb. But they need those 3 points. With Aston Villa and Bournemouth, though, I'll take, I think I'm going to take Villa. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be 2-1, but I'm going to take Villa. And then we move on to Sunday in that first game of the day. God, why do we have to play so early? Why do we have to play at 7 a.m.?
Man.
Newcastle and Chelsea,
stupid.
7 a.m.
By far, I would say probably one of the biggest matches in the whole entire Premier League season.
Yeah.
I mean, this is insane.
God, that sucks. But look, I'm impressed by the way that Newcastle played in this month. But there is still times where I'm watching them play and I'm like, what is happening? Like, what is going on? And I think a lot of that comes from injuries and such, but it's still, there's just a lot of questionable moments for Newcastle. And I think you could probably say the same about Chelsea. Now, playing that Liverpool squad last week probably gives you some confidence, but at the same time, that Liverpool squad also didn't look like they were really out there like they have been. And I'll say this about really just Arne Slot's play style. He's kind of that way. I mean, this Liverpool squad, even if they just get like a 1-goal lead, they look uninspired. I don't know what it is. They love a close game, and instead they get thrashed, and it did not seem like it did not seem like the Liverpool of months prior.
No, I do want to say, though, most of the first half, Chelsea had their entire backs against the wall and were defending tooth and nail to try to keep Liverpool out. They looked so good in possession. They were constantly on offense. But Chelsea still ended up, scoring 3 goals and getting a 3-1 win, which I really, really enjoyed. And it's always fun to, kind of beat the Premier League champions there. No matter if they looked uninspired or even were resting some guys, which they were.
Yeah.
So, and on the other side, Newcastle coming off of a 1-1 draw against Brighton, not really what you want to see from Newcastle there. You need to be beating teams like that, especially in the position that Newcastle are in. I I want to hype this game up. I want to manifest an insane game. I'm going to go 4-3 Chelsea and one of the best games of the Premier League season.
I'm going to unfortunately go with a 2-2 draw.
Yeah. Okay.
I think unbelievably it kind of helps both of us, even though that Nottingham Forest will probably be level on points with us. But with the way that the schedule sorts out for both these teams, a draw here is not awful. I don't love the way that Newcastle's playing right now. I think Chelsea looks a lot better than they have in past months, that's for sure. But I'm also not like all that high on the way that Chelsea's playing right now. So I think a draw could certainly be in the cards. Do I also think that like Newcastle could fall on their face and not score a goal? Yeah. I mean, we do that all the time.
And so does Chelsea.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of betting on the fact that Romeo Lavia, he's back in the team. Moises Caicedo is playing inverted right back now. Lavia, at 21 years old, completely changes Chelsea. I mean, 1,000% the way that they look on the field, which is insane. He's not getting the credit he deserves. But I also, with that being said, Newcastle, with their backs against the wall, I feel like are one of the best teams in the Premier League.
They can be.
So I think with Chelsea playing better, I 100% expect Newcastle to match that, despite their kind of wavering form with the draw to Brighton and the loss 2 weeks ago. I think it's going to be a great game, a fantastic game.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun regardless.
To your point, if it's a draw, I don't think Nottingham Forest wins their next game, and I don't think Aston Villa wins their next game either. So it would be a win-win for both of us.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Manchester United and West Ham, two teams that have certainly underperformed, to say the least. Considering this is 17th place West Ham versus 15th place Manchester United.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Manchester United with a -9 goal differential this season too.
Yeah, well, West Ham -19.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 2-1 United. I think they beat West Ham.
I'll give them 2-0. I mean, I hate the way West Ham's playing. They are scoring goals, but maybe not this week. Okay, Nottingham Forest and Leicester. I mean, this one is important, at least for us and for Nottingham Forest, but obviously Leicester, they got the win last week against Southampton, which literally doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, Leicester's playing for nothing. Is Jamie Vardy playing still, or did he just like quit before the season was over?
Oh, I think he's playing. Did you not see the clip of him last week of him blowing the ref's whistle when a player was hurt?
Right.
No,
yeah.
The ref was hurt.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, the ref got hurt, and then the game got delayed. But yeah, he did reach down and blow the ref's whistle.
I'm going to be so sad when he's retired, genuinely. What an entertaining player.
He is.
But, here, Nottingham Forest, like you said, playing for something, Leicester not playing for something. Nottingham Forest has not shown me... They're clearly not good in the clutch when they need to be winning games. I mean, they've dropped all the way from 2nd to 6th in horrific fashion since the turn of the new year. I think Leicester gives them a draw.
Yeah, I think it could definitely be close. I think I'm going to give the edge to Nottingham Forest. I mean, Leicester's just not. They're not it, man. At no point this season would I ever say that they could beat Nottingham Forest, not even at the lowest we've seen them this season. So,
yeah.
I'm going to take Nottingham Forest 1-0. I wish I didn't, but I think I just have to. How about Spurs and Crystal Palace?
This
is a weird-ass matchup because Crystal Palace has somehow fallen back into awful form, just kind of out of nowhere, seemingly.
Yeah, and Tottenham sitting at 16th place with a positive 6 goal differential, just out there on an island by themselves. Yeah, I think Tottenham, still a big club, still some really talented players in that lineup. I think they take advantage of Palace's shitty form. I'm going to go 1-0 Tottenham.
I mean, Tottenham still alive in the Europa League.
Hanging on.
And Manchester United, by the way. Give you guys a live check-in right now on leg 2 in these Europa League matchups. Tottenham's 0-0. They're up 3-1 on aggregate. Manchester United down 1-0, but they're up 3-1 on aggregate against Bilbao.
Yeah, I think I saw a video of this morning where whatever team Tottenham's playing in the Europa League, their fans were shooting off fireworks at the hotel that Tottenham was staying at, which is just classic ultra.
Boda FC Boda Glimt. I don't know.
From where? Like Belgium?
Norway.
Norway.
Yeah. I don't fucking know who they are, but shout out to that team for making the Europa League semifinals. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool.
All right. Yeah. Score prediction for Spurs Crystal Palace. I'll give Crystal Palace the edge, 1-0. I think Spurs does not care about what's happening in the Premier League right now.
Yeah. Also, to give a live update, it looks like Chelsea are going to beat Diergarten.
Oh, congrats.
It's 1-0 with a 5-1 aggregate in Chelsea's favor. The other side, though, much more entertaining. It's the 56th minute. Florentina up 2-1 over Real Betis, and it's a 3-3 aggregate.
I think Fiorentina's won the Conference League before, have they not? Or did they lose to West Ham in the final a couple of years ago?
They lost to West Ham.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. Cool little stat that I have for you. Speaking of Real Betis, Antony, since joining Real Betis in January,
he's been good.
20 games, 11 goals and assists. Vinicius has played 25 games since Betis has acquired Antony, 8 goals and assists.
That's not good.
Yeah. So as a Chelsea fan, I'm actually kind of scared to actually play some competition in the final of the Conference League, especially if it's Real Betis, who have been flying since Antony joined.
They're killing it.
So,
all right, final match of the Premier League schedule this weekend, Liverpool and Arsenal. I mean, this is important for Arsenal, but do we even know if Liverpool's trying? That's what I can't figure out. If Liverpool's trying, they will beat Arsenal. With how they're playing, they will. But I don't know if they're trying.
Even if Liverpool are kind of not trying, I think that they probably get maybe a favorable result against Arsenal with how they look now.
But like this is a dire situation for Arsenal.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Liverpool.
Yeah. I'm gonna go 1-1. I hate the way Arsenal's playing right now. They look so bad.
Yeah, they're garbage.
Yeah. I mean, they tried to pull something there a little bit in the Champions League, which we're about to talk about, but I was not very impressed.
Yeah.
Do we want to go ahead and we can just hop right into the Champions League if you want and go ahead and just talk about Arsenal to jump off. All right, so we'll wrap up the Prem there and move over to the Champions League. I guess technically Arsenal is probably our next talking point, but let's start with Inter and Barcelona just for the sake of chronological order here. Inter 4, Barcelona 3 in extra time. Many people saying that this 2 legs will go down as the best non-final matchup in Champions League history.
I mean, I'd have to look at the history, but yeah, for right now, it seems right. It seems very fair.
It seems unbelievable. This was crazy. 7-6 on aggregate, and it took extra time. And an insane comeback by Inter.
An insane comeback by Barca. And they were down 2-0 in both legs.
Yeah. Yeah. And that first goal, by the way, that Inter scored, awful defending by Barcelona. Your whole line jumps forward with 2 up. It makes no sense. You have 2 attackers right there in your defense, like in your line. And I don't know who it was that made the pass, but you jump on, like all of them but one player jumped on that pass. Like, what are you doing? And then you have a 2v1. Really a 2v1 with the goalie. The defender was way behind them.
Yeah.
It was awful. Awful defense by Barcelona.
Definitely. So I have a lot of stats here that we can comment on. But
can I kind of go through how the game rolled on first? Okay, so there was a bit of tempers kind of flared there after Inter's second goal. That second goal was a penalty committed by Pau Cubarsí. And I think that, along with what I'll mention, I'll let you go through the stats first before I go through the next thing, or the thing that connects these two. But the youth of Barcelona may have kind of failed them in this game. A little bit. So Pau Cubarsí commits that penalty. It was a bad tackle. The ball was way too far away.
So I thought it was
but
really
for his
close,
positioning, I think, no. I think from his positioning to where he was dribbling, was not the time to try and make that tackle. I know he was about to try and get a shot off, but that ball was way too far out to the left for Kubarsi to put that much of an effort into trying to make that tackle.
That's a good point, and especially when you're trying to make a challenge like that on a very, stable-minded striker in Lautaro Martinez.
Yeah.
Every time as a striker, and I don't know if Martinez or other strikers do this in fact, I know they do this on purpose, but in this case, I'm not sure. But like, if you know a slide tackle's coming in, just plant your leg in front of the ball and eat the challenge every time, which is kind of what happened. And, we've seen it before. Kubarsi made an awful challenge against Benfica that got him sent off.
Yeah.
So Kubarsi, wonderful defender. I don't want to take anything away from him, but his slide tackles have gotten Barcelona in trouble a couple times in the Champions League. So
yeah, and then I think it was Chalonglu, or however the fuck you say that guy's name. It was his goal. Yeah, he converted the penalty, and after that penalty, Inigo Martinez decided to spit on a Serbi as Inter was celebrating.
I never even saw that.
Yeah, well, the refs didn't either. The refs didn't see that happen. And so there was no repercussions. If the ref saw it happen, that he's getting a red. I mean, that's just how that goes. Nobody saw it, at least on the field. And so Inigo Martinez played on. And then you go through the rest of the game. Barcelona ends up a fantastic comeback. I mean, truly fantastic comeback by Barcelona there. And all of a sudden, they're rolling, and you're up 1 goal. You're up 1 in this match. And in, I believe, the 87th minute, and I don't want to go too in-depth yet because I'm going to talk about it, but in the 87th minute, they had the chance to almost ice this game. But I want you to go through the stats before I get into this, because I'm going to talk a little bit about Thierry Henry's breakdown of this.
Oh, I was going to talk about Serbi after we talked about his stoppage time equalizer, because there's a lot of things with the Serbi that led him to this moment that it's just insane for him.
Okay, then I'll talk about this moment first then. So Thierry Henry's breakdown of this was amazing, about how poorly Barcelona and particularly Lamine Yamal handled this end of the match here, or in the regulation, I guess. So you're up 1 goal in the 87th minute. Lamine Yamal gets the outlet pass and essentially ignites a 3-versus-4 counterattack with Lewandowski, and I believe Pedri was the other person up the field with him. And in this scenario, in the 87th minute, up 1 goal in this spot, the immediate reaction should be time wasting. You should I understand that you could say, yes, if we go down and we score a goal in this counterattack, we win. It's over.
Yeah.
But it could also be over if you fucking run the clock out, because you're already winning. And instead, he plays a pass in behind to Pedri, and then Pedri has the chance to turn around and see 2 wide-ass open options behind him. And instead, receives the pass, makes 1 dribble left, and then comes out towards Yamal and passes to Yamal on the outside. And once again, Yamal gets the chance to go in time waste, go straight to the corner flag, whatever you need to do. And he instead tries to cut in, tries to take a shot. Shot gets deflected. It goes out for a throw-in. Then once again, Barcelona handles this improperly. And I think this is one of those miscues in Hansi Flick's strategy, where this throw-in happens. You have the throw-in. Why do you have 6 players in the attacking third?
It's unbelievable.
It made no sense. 6 players in the attacking third on this throw-in. And why is Lamine Yamal trying to overlap Lewandowski here? Lamine Yamal should be dropping back. Pedri should be dropping back. There should literally be whoever's throwing it in, I'm blanking on who was throwing it in. It should be whoever's throwing it in, Lewandowski, and maybe one other person up there. Everybody else should be at the halfway line. And instead, he tries to make that forward pass. Lewandowski tries to lay it off to Yamal. It immediately gets intercepted. Then that sparks an Inter counterattack, 4v4 on the other end, and then Inter equalizes in, I guess that was that the 90th plus 3, I guess? I think that much time had elapsed.
Yeah.
So, 6 minutes changed the course of this game.
And we saw this a lot throughout this game where like Bastoni was very forward, Acerbi was very forward, and it was kind of cool to see because I don't think we've really seen, or at least I haven't seen Inter doing that throughout this Champions League campaign where their center backs, only 3 of them, by the way, are so far forward. But so Acerbi, a 37-year-old center back, beat cancer, alcoholism, and depression throughout his career. And what you had just brought up, he got spit on in this game.
Yeah.
Scores a stoppage time equalizer in front of the Inter Milan fans at the San Siro, takes off his shirt. It was also his first Champions League goal of his entire career.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then you had Fratese's goal in celebration on the fence.
Did you see what he said after?
Time. No.
Okay, so after the match, the CBS Golasso team, the Champions League Today team, interviewed him on the field, and they asked him like why he did like a fake and then took that shot on goal, because I mean he's just not a goal scorer. I mean, yeah, not a goal scorer. And he literally said on their live broadcast in English, "I was thinking that if I don't score, I'm fucked." And the whole panel just lost it. But I mean, that's such a great quote there for a guy who just found himself with the ball at his feet in the box in a crucial moment and just delivered out of nowhere.
Oh man. And then Jan Sommer, man of the match.
Yeah, even though he conceded 3 goals.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
He made either, I think it was 17 or 14 saves across these 2 legs. They signed him for 6 million euros after selling Onana for 50 million euros.
Yeah.
I mean, this Inter Milan team, man, but I want to give my flowers to Barcelona because, Grayson, they made this Champions League campaign, this new format, so entertaining. Like, do you remember the match week where they played Benfica before their incredible 2 legs against Benfica in the knockout round? Yeah. Insane. Rafinha, 14 games played, 13 goals, 9 assists. He led the UCL in both, but he was tied for the goal part. Lewandowski, despite getting hurt and missing the first leg of this campaign against Inter Milan, he had 11 goals. I think he was tied for 3rd.
Yeah.
In Champions League goals. And then I have a fun fact here. Inter Milan only conceded 1 goal in 8 games in the new format group stage. In the knockout round, they conceded 10 in 6 games.
Yeah,
6 of which were against Barcelona.
It's crazy how different things were, but also they weren't scoring any goals in the league phase.
No.
And then against Bayern and against Barcelona, they scored 7 goals across the 2 legs. It's crazy. Yeah. Absolutely insane.
It's absolutely wild.
And I think it also goes to show how dynamic of a team they have. We constantly talk about Inter being this park the bus style team. Well, these last 2, obviously these 2 legs here in this one, but also with Bayern, they didn't have to. They did not have to park the bus, and that's so much credit goes to Inzaghi, right? Is he their manager? Or am I mixing?
Definitely,
okay, yeah. So much credit goes there to be able to make those changes and to see like, okay, these teams are so much different than the teams that we were taking on earlier in this campaign. How do we change? Yep. How do we adjust? And I think that was the code for beating what Hansi Flick has built here at Barcelona in his first season. That was exactly it.
I couldn't have said it better myself. When you have a team that has a style of play, but they can flourish when they're made uncomfortable by a heavy goal-scoring team like Barcelona. I mean, you would have told me in the group stage that Inter would find themselves down to Barcelona in the semifinal. I would have told you they're not coming back. They can't score.
Yeah.
But their backs are against the wall and they made it happen. So shout out Inter Milan, but also Barca gets their flowers. What an entertaining team.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Okay, on to PSG 2, Arsenal 1. PSG advances 3-1 on aggregate. No Dembele in the starting lineup. He sustained an injury the last time around. You get a fucking beautiful goal by Fabian Ruiz. Absolutely outstanding. Well, sorry?
So I wanted to bring up, before the game even started, PSG Ultras held up a tifo that said Arsenal bottle job since 06. Saka, ? More like Timu Anthony.
Yeah, very funny.
That's a great way to set the tone.
Yeah,
for,
and then
for visiting the Parc des Princes. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Also, I guess I kind of skipped past it, but in like the 8th minute, Martin Odegaard had a great volley that just barely got saved by Donnarumma. In the 8th minute, it was so close, and then PSG comes back. A great goal by Fabian Ruiz, who once again we just keep bringing him up every week because it's like, why did he decide this was the time for him to be like, yeah, I'm gonna play well? So weird.
I know.
And then you have Hakimi takes a shot on goal. It deflects off Lewis Skelly's hand and earns them a pen. Then Raya saves Vitinha's pen. By the way, Vitinha, very odd approach to that penalty because he did like a really weird slow walk up that looked very uncomfortable and then put the ball like straight into the ground. It didn't seem like he struck it the way he wanted to either. Very odd penalty from Vitinha, but it gets saved by David Raya. And so they kind of think they're off the hook. Well, then Hakimi shows up again in an attacking position, gets another chance, slots that one home with a great goal. And that was kind of all she wrote. I mean, yeah, Arsenal scored that one to try and make it something, but when you look at how these two different games ended, and you look at, like, so Thierry Henry put these two kind of side by side, and he did that in-depth explanation on Lamine Yamal and how Barca kind of didn't handle it right. Up 2 goals on aggregate, 91st minute. Kvaratskhelia gets the ball in the center of the field, all on his own up front. Immediately breaks for the sideline. He's probably at like midfield when he gets the ball. Immediately breaks for the sideline and is just running past defenders to get to the corner. Stays in the corner, dribbles out. They end up, making a tackle. The ball goes out. It's a throw-in for PSG. They continue to wind down the clock off the throw-in, and they win the game. That's how Barcelona should have handled that. 100%.
Yeah.
You don't see extra time. You don't see Inter move on to the final if Barcelona handles that late game situation the way that Kvaratskhelia and PSG handled this. And that just goes more to show, like, Luis Enrique and what he's done at PSG this season, particularly at the turn of the new year, has truly been unbelievable.
Yeah. The only thing I have left for PSG Arsenal, it sounds like you actually watched the highlights. I did not, unfortunately. I haven't seen this one yet, but I'm probably going to watch it after we get done here. But did see a lot of reels of stuff going on outside of the stadium around Paris after the fact. PSG fans essentially rioted. I saw them attack
as
a
they
bus.
Should. I'll be honest.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a newly good team.
It's a likable team. It's the first time PSG's been likable.
Thank you. I'm in the same boat as you there, and it's also their second Champions League final appearance ever. And we know what happened to them in 2020. They never had a chance against that Bayern Munich team, but now they do. A real chance against Inter Milan. But are we done talking about that game? Because I have some cool
I have a couple
things.
I have a couple things left. So you actually talked about things going on outside the stadium. There was an interesting video taken of an Arsenal fan who was not happy and said some bad words that I will not be repeating. But among the likes of calling PSG fans, and this one's in quotes, Muslim terrorists. That was fun. And then the same guy in the same video, just a string of homophobic slurs. Constantly rolling. Christ. Yeah. So it's a good look for Arsenal to be playing like dog shit in the league. You get dominated in 2 legs from PSG, and then your fans are in Paris calling their fans terrorists and slurs.
You don't. I mean, like talk shit about the team. Like, talk shit about Arsenal's history versus PSG. Don't go that route.
Don't talk about the fans. PSG might have some of the best fans.
Most passionate, for sure, out of all the top teams.
Yeah. But then again, I guess I would be mad if my team never won trophies, but we do now, so fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. More trophies than Arsenal of recent history. So,
and one more fun fact, just to unfortunately put down Tottenham of all teams. PSG has won as many matches against Premier League clubs in 2025 as Tottenham.
Oh,
5.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they ran the gauntlet in the Champions League, essentially. Knocked them all out.
Yeah, PSG has beaten 5 Premier League teams in 2025, and Tottenham has as well.
Yeah.
That's not good. Not good. Yeah, let's talk about what you had. Just kind of the outcome.
Yeah. So you're going to find this super interesting. The Champions League has had a newly crowned champion every time the final has been played in Munich. So
oh wow,
it's happened 4 times. Chelsea in 2012, obviously when we beat Bayern in their new stadium in their own backyard there. Dortmund in 1997 won it in Munich. Marseille in 1993 and Nottingham Forest in 1979.
Wow.
With that being said, PSG are in the final and have never won the Champions League before.
Okay, well, I have a fact that would do the other side for that.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
So, in the 70-year history of the Champions League, 94 teams have faced PSV Eindhoven in competition, and none of them have gone on to win the competition that year. 10 came close, losing in the final. PSG faced PSV earlier in this league, in the league phase, and drew 1-1. So PSG, potentially the 95th victim of playing PSV in the Champions League and not being able to win the final. And they would be the 11th team that would lose in the final if they do.
Oh, wow. Just to keep going here, the last time Inter Milan won the Champions League final was in 2010 with Jose Mourinho's treble season. So it's been 15 years since Inter Milan have done it. This will be the second UCL final that PSG have played in. Obviously, they lost to Bayern in 2020. I already talked about that. So really, I'm going to be honest. I'm so fucking excited for this final, dude. I'm clearing the whole day to watch this.
I unfortunately can't. Honestly, I have to work, but we'll see what happens.
That sucks. Well, maybe you can work a shit ton and then cut your overtime and be able to watch this. But this is just like, I'm so excited for this final. And to be honest with you, I don't even know how to predict like what will happen.
I think we should save our predictions till we get closer, because these are two teams that you really got to analyze what we might see, because it's going to be a big difference from what we saw from them in these last 2 matches.
For sure. But I still may not be able to give you like an opinion that I feel good about, because they're just so, it's going to be so good.
Okay, so I would like, I have one trivia question for you with the Champions League final here, and what this one is unique for. So Champions League final going to be played without a team from Spain, England, and Germany. So none of those teams, or none of those nations represented. And what year was the last time none of those 3 countries were represented in a Champions League final?
Oh my God.
It's a Champions League final that me and you have talked about a number of times.
Really?
Yes.
And I think I saw this stat as well. So it's Spain, Germany, Italy, right?
Spain, Germany, England are not in it. Obviously, Italy is in it.
Yeah. Oh.
I will say that this particular final did not include Italy. So it didn't include Spain, Italy, or Germany.
Crap, and we've talked about it multiple times?
I think so. I mean, inadvertently. Maybe not exactly the final, but the team that won.
Oh, damn it. Is it, okay, sorry. Again, so it can't include a team from which country?
Spain, England, and Germany, and I already went ahead and told you that it also does not have an Italian team.
Oh, is it, again, it can't be an England team.
No.
Fuck, man, can I have a hint?
Yeah, okay, so the opponent that we wouldn't typically have talked about, the team that I'm fairly sure lost to this matchup, was Monaco.
Oh, shit. I don't even know when they played in the Champions League final.
2004 against Porto.
Oh! Jose Mourinho won that one with Porto, right? Would he have been the manager then?
I believe so.
Yeah. That's awesome. That was another treble, I believe.
Yeah.
For Mourinho. Yeah, okay.
I thought that was 21 years since we've had a final without Spain, England, or Germany.
I wonder what that knockout stage looked like of that Champions League season.
Oh God,
it's weird.
Yeah, I have no idea. What else do we have Champions League wise? I do have like 2 questions to ask you that kind of follow the same basis of what we talked about.
No, go ahead and hit me with them.
Okay, so
ready
in both of these matches. We've been talking about these for a couple weeks now. I don't even know if we really talked about it much on the podcast, but the Ballon d'Or obviously very dependent on Champions League success.
Yeah.
Does this Barcelona loss kill Rafinha's chances at the Ballon d'Or?
Man, dude, it's so hard to have Ballon d'Or discussions, to be honest with you, because I feel like it never goes to like, man, I don't know, because like, who do we have? So like Rafinha, Salah, Dembele, and I've even heard Lautaro Martinez's name. Thrown around as well.
He should be.
So, does it hurt Rafinha? I think he's been so good. No, it shouldn't hurt him.
Okay.
But then again, if PSG wins and Dembele gets like a brace or even a goal, it's probably Ousmane Dembele. But then again, Dembele didn't have the full season of playing well like Rafinha or like Salah.
But the Ballon d'Or is just 2025.
You're right.
And there's no summer competitions. So we'll be going off of like some maybe like some future qualifying. I think there's probably some World Cup qualifying that needs to be played and some friendlies that'll be played. But like we're not going to see important matches for Rafinha or Dembele or Salah this summer.
Okay, so it's Dembele probably.
Definitely, yeah. So that's what I was going to say. And more importantly, if PSG does this and completes the treble with Dembele kind of at the helm, I think that's even more reason for him to win Ballon d'Or, which is just a crazy turn of events for his career.
I didn't even know they were on treble watch.
Yeah. I mean, it's... Why are you surprised?
I don't keep up with the McDonald's League One.
Exactly. You don't have to because PSG wins it, and then they probably win whatever the other tournament is that they have. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like definitely think Ballon d'Or is going to be
like
interesting.
That?
Probably.
Is that like the tennis or something? I don't even know.
No, that's the French Open. The Roland Garros French Open. I would assume it's probably the French Cup. But Coupe de France would be...
Coupe de la Ligue.
Oh, so the League Cup.
Yeah. You want to take a wild guess at who won it the last time?
Probably PSG.
You would be correct.
Nice. Have they not won it recently? I would assume probably like Lyon has probably won one, or like Lille, maybe Monaco recently.
Strasbourg did it in 2019. Actually, wait a minute.
They might not win it all the time. I just know they win Liga.
Have they... Okay, this is going to be a little bit weird for me to figure out on the podcast, but the last time a team won it from the list that I'm looking at was 2020.
Oh. That's...
Unless I'm looking at the wrong cup.
Could be. I have no idea.
We'll figure
this
it out.
is a conversation for another day. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll be back with questions time. All right, we're back with questions time. You know exactly what time it is because we talked about it before the break, but we're back with questions time. Nathan gave us some more draft-related questions, which I guess we didn't really talk much about the draft this week. Now, I don't know if we needed to, but we're going to. Shout out Shador.
Questions time.
Perfect timing.
Why are we shouting out Shador?
Because his song, Perfect Timing.
Oh, he released a song
like a year ago.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
You don't know Perfect Timing? Oh man.
No, I know Le'Veon Bell's discography. I don't know about Shador Sanders' discography.
Yeah, you gotta listen to Perfect Timing. Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and just get these rolling. If you had to buy a jersey of one of the rookies that isn't on your team, whose jersey would you get?
Oh wow, that's a good question. I don't know what number Siobhan Revel Jr. is gonna wear. I'd probably get his.
Yeah.
That's a big steal. the Cowboys. No one's talking about
Fair.
that, but that's a massive steal.
I agree with that.
Maybe, yeah, no, Siobhan Revel. I like him a lot.
I'm going to go with Quinshon Judkins Browns jersey.
Okay.
But I like the black with the orange, that jersey. Like the really dark one with the orange, that one.
Yeah.
For Quinshon Judkins. Okay, this one's very interesting. Will Cam Ward, Tyler Shuck, or Jalen Milroe have the best season statistically? Very odd 3, considering one of them is going to start, and that's it. So I don't know about that. I'm going to go ahead and just throw a flag on this question, Nathan. Jalen Milroe and Tyler Shuck probably aren't going to start.
I actually kind of like this question because it gives me a platform to say that I am so excited to watch the Titans next season with Cam Ward.
Me too.
I love that kid. Absolutely love Cam Ward.
Yeah, and I love that they have an offensive line around him.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing to me. Is like there's actually something there. But Nathan, I think this question just simply doesn't work because I don't know if Jalen Milroe sees the field if Sam Darnold's playing ahead of him. And Tyler Shuck, I mean, he might play. I don't know. Yeah. The Saints are fucking weird.
Sam Darnold, I feel like, is in a situation in Seattle where if he plays bad, you don't really have grounds to bench him just because you drafted Jalen Milroe because of what he did last season. Just let him play through it, probably.
I agree. This one might be a better one. Will Ginty, Omarion Hampton, or Quinshon Judkins have the better impact for their team in just the run game? We could also throw Caleb Johnson into the fold, which Nathan did say in parentheses.
Okay. I think with the season that J.K. Dobbins had under Harbaugh is very promising. J.K. Dobbins, a guy who never was healthy, finally got a platform, and he was really good for most of the season last season.
I guess you do have to specify which Harbaugh, by the way.
Chargers Harbaugh.
Yes.
So, I like the offense that the Chargers were running last season. I think Omarion Hampton probably has the best season. Ginty is the most exciting neutrally, but I'm more excited for Caleb Johnson. But he's going to share it with Jalen Warren for sure, so he won't be the guy.
I think that out of these 3 or 4, I'd probably say Judkins. The quarterback situation is a shit show in Cleveland. Nick Chubb is a free agent, so don't even worry about him being involved in the running back room. They restructured Jerome Ford's deal so that they could save some money on him. He's going to be running back too. It's going to be Judkins. Judkins is going to be the guy in Cleveland, and if that quarterback room is still going to be a shit show, which doesn't look like it's going to get any better, Quinshon Judkins is going to be very important in the run game.
He's going to be important, but like, how good is he really going to be considering what their run game looked like last year?
I mean, they still got an offensive line. I think it's a really
bad place. I don't know, man. I don't really like putting a rookie in that kind of position, especially in Cleveland.
Sure.
I can't see it going well for Judkins.
I just think that he's going to be the most relied on out of this group. Because, I mean, Ginty, I'm glad he's a Raider. I think that's a great fit. But also, they have other shit going for him in this offense. I mean, Geno Smith is now the quarterback. That's a big step up from last year. Brock Bowers and company. There's something going on there with the offense. There's not much to write home about in Cleveland. I guess, no offense, same kind of goes for the Steelers, but at least DK Metcalf's there. Like, at least you have that. Yeah. But, like, Jerry Jeudy's not going to be demanding attention from a quarterback that can't throw to him.
Yeah.
That's just not going to be the case.
Geno's the kind of guy, he's used to having offense on his shoulders. They don't give a fuck about Zach Charbonnet or Kenneth Walker in Seattle. It was all
we
Geno.
Saw how those careers have quickly declined.
Exactly, which probably bodes well for Ginty, to be honest with you. It's not all on him.
Yeah, which is an odd feeling. It's an odd position to put him in because that's all he's had. Yeah. It's all he's been.
But it's a good one. It's a good one for your rookie season in the NFL, no matter who you are, I think.
Yeah. I do think Omarion Hampton, he's kind of the only one I haven't talked about. Omarion Hampton's going to have a decent year. I could very well see Omarion Hampton rushing for probably 900 plus yards. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I'm there with you.
But he's not going to get every snap at running back. I mean, Najee Harris is there, and Jim Harbaugh likes Najee Harris. There's a reason he went out and got him. So you can't just totally give all the snaps to Omarion Hampton, but I think he should be running back one, maybe as it starts, maybe quickly into the season, but he's going to do his thing. He's going to have his impact. I don't think he'll have the biggest impact of the bunch because he has the most competition at his position on his team.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think I'd go with Judkins as a to tie the bow on that. All right. What is your year one prediction for Travis Hunter's rookie season playing both sides of the ball? So hard to predict. I would assume that from what it seems like and what everybody said, full-time offense, part-time defense.
I'm going to give him one interception and just over 1,000 yards.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if I'd give him 1,000 yards. Brian Thomas Jr. To me is wide receiver one immediately. So I don't know if I see 1,000 yards in Travis Hunter's future. I'd say 850 yards, 3 touchdowns on the receiving side. And then defensively, I could probably go with 1 interception, maybe a couple of pass breakups.
Yeah.
I could see that. But I really don't think it's... The thing is, he doesn't have to be exceptional to be impressive.
Yeah.
He just has to do well on both sides.
I mean, if he contributes, that's already insane.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if he is as good as, like, I don't know, Jacoby Myers on offense, and maybe worse than Jacoby Myers, like slightly. If he's like that good as a wide receiver, and on defense he can be like a decent corner when he's out there, that's pretty exceptional.
Yeah,
I'll give him that credit. Yeah, exactly. All right, these last two are not draft related, but I'm going to switch the order of them and ask the NFL one first. Who in the NFL would you say is an S-tier receiver? Max is 3. You only have 3 S-tier receivers. So you don't have to put them in any order, but they're the top 3 receivers in the league.
Okay, Jamar, Jefferson.
Yep. I think there's a clear 3 as well.
Yeah, probably CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I think that's it. and I'll you know what? I'm going to say this right now because I've thought it many times before. The order that you just said those in is my order for the top 3 wide receivers in the NFL.
I said what? Chase, Jefferson, CD?
Yeah, I think that's my top 3. 1, 2, 3. Is that
okay?
Is that too far? Is it crazy to not not give Jefferson 1?
I would. What if I said I might want to give that to CeeDee Lamb?
2 or 1?
1.
I mean, you could. They all do different shit, but they're all amazing.
Do. They're high volume guys, man.
Yeah.
Wow. No, you know what? I can't give a. I couldn't give a top 3 in a timely manner here. That's just too close. Way too close.
It's really close
for me.
It's really close. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that settles it. I don't think there's anybody else right there in that same tier with those guys. I don't think there's anybody that can contend with those 3. Not right now.
No.
Right. Okay, the final one. If you had to travel to an island for vacation, where would you go?
An island?
Yeah, I guess any island. Just a vacation destination.
Damn, that's a really good question, dude. Shout out Nathan.
I'm not a beach guy, so can I say Australia? Does that count? It's an island.
I'll give you Australia.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Australia would be fun. Besides their insects that are as big as people.
Yeah, I mean, that is the part that I would love to see. I don't care about the beach.
I would go to either the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, or
that.
Cuba.
Actually, Dominican Republic baseball trip would be awesome.
Oh yeah, get to wear some of those cardboard gloves. Oh yeah.
I'm not saying I'm playing. I'm saying I'm going to the games.
Oh dude, I would play. I would just drive around until I found
I'm not
a field.
nearly good enough to play. They wouldn't even let my ass on the field, bro. Not happening.
Play against 11-year-olds that are 6'3", 210.
Exactly. And those 11-year-olds are probably already getting paid by MLB teams just under the table.
Yeah. And like really fighting each other too. Like using all their bats as weapons against each other.
Yeah, and their bats are like yardsticks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, that would be an awesome trip. Okay, that's my two. That's my two. Dominican Republic baseball vacation and just Australia in general.
Yeah. Well, the RD in Cuba, obviously because of my Spanish minor, it'd be fun to speak. And then Jamaica, just because I'm very interested in that culture. I think it's a really cool culture.
It is a cool culture.
I would love to be able to speak Patois.
That would be cool.
Be sick.
It would make this podcast very interesting if me and you both spoke Patois. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But I'd be more than happy to change the intro to like Wagwan to second intro.
Dude, I answer phone calls like that all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Great. But we're not going to do that. I'd rather not start off the episode every time with cultural appropriation. We'll just it's minor, I'd say. I think it's just, but probably not a good way to start. It's a really bad introduction to new people. It's the unbelievably white people saying that to start the episode. All right, well, that's all the questions. I think that was really fun. Can I just hit everybody with a quick put on real quick of food? I guess a snack, maybe not food necessarily.
I'll think of my Spanish phrase of the day.
Okay, so I've already had these like many times before in my life, but I bought some at the store because they like caught my eye. And I was like, I gotta get those because I remember them being so good, and they exceeded the expectations I already had for them, which is limoncello white chocolate covered almonds. It's unbelievable. I love like citrus flavor and such, but limoncello as a flavor is unbelievably good already. And for it to be a white chocolate with the limoncello flavoring encapsulating an almond is a game changer. Because I also love chocolate covered nuts. So if anybody catches, if the limoncello almonds at the store catch your eye, I heavily recommend that you buy them, regardless of the fact that they are wildly expensive.
I appreciate it.
Chocolate covered nuts. That's something that grinds my gears, by the way. Chocolate covered nuts are far too expensive.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
They are.
I think so.
Way too expensive. Okay, Spanish phrase of the day, Luke.
Everything else, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I don't really have like a phrase or like a sentence that we can learn or that I can teach you. But we're gonna learn just two words that mean opposite things.
Okay.
All right. So if you're mad at somebody and you want to tell them to like get out of your face, you're gonna say vete.
Vete? Just one word?
Yeah, vete.
Okay.
So, and that's kind of, it can also be sort of seen as like the command for like leave or like go.
Okay.
So it doesn't always have to be if you're mad at someone, but it's usually very punctual, like vete.
Yeah. It's like an exclamation.
Exactly.
Okay.
On the other side of that, the word for come.
Oh.
We're going to say venga.
Luke, I have to ask, have you used this in a situation where it should be interpreted the other way?
No, it's not cum. It's
I know, but
I'm
asking you if you have attempted this.
Like tell someone to like come here or like
what? No, like in the other connotation of the word, in the opposite spelling, but in the same word. Like okay, this is so. I don't want to explain what I'm saying. I was trying to make a joke here, but would you use it in a sexual manner, just as a joke?
Not venga. No.
Okay.
No.
Fair enough.
There's probably a different word for that, and to be honest with you, I don't know what it is.
Let's keep it that way, at least for now. You're welcome to figure this out after the podcast is over.
I definitely will. But Yeah, Vete and Venga.
Okay, noted. Vete and Venga.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, hey, you got to make sure you get the soft V, the B sound with Venga. Venga.
Venga. So
it's still the hard V, man.
What am I trying to say?
Almost say Benga with a B, but like Venga.
Venga.
Yeah, that was
okay.
Better.
All right. I think it also could just be how it's coming through for the microphone, but whatever. All right.
It could.
Thank you guys for listening. This was a fantastic episode. Make sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube. You turn on post notifications so you stay up to date with everything coming out. Got a lot of fun stuff coming this summer, so make sure you're on the lookout for that. Make sure you're following us on Instagram and TikTok. You can go see Luke's Premier League Team of the Month that came out on Thursday. And,
yes.
of course, podcast listeners, rate 5 stars. Give us a follow on there. And I was going to say you'll see Luke next week. You'll see Luke in 2 weeks. He'll be reporting back from the music festival he's attending. What's it called again? Sorry.
Yep. Rockville.
He'll be reporting back with info on that. In the meantime, I will be here with Colin on Monday, and then NFL quarterbacks tier list. Every single starting quarterback or projected starting quarterback tier list on Monday's episode with me and Colin. That's going to be an interesting conversation. And I'll probably run a solo episode next week. We'll figure something out, some fun stuff to talk about. And then I'll be back with me and Colin, and then Luke will be back to almost to wrap up May and then lead us into that summer content that we've been teasing. So very excited for all that. Got a lot of fun stuff coming up. And Luke, anything for the people before we get out of here?
Nah, man, we're good.
All right.
So good.
Well, then, everybody, enjoy the weekend. Me and Luke are going to be bitter rivals for about 90 minutes this weekend. And I will catch you guys later. Peace.